Hello. Hello, everybody. How we doing? How's everybody doing? Show some love. Show some love and say hi. You know, I don't ask you folks to do much, and as always, a heartfelt thank you. Thank you, everybody who's here. If you want to join the conversation, all you got to do is head over to my YouTube, which is Cheds Trading. And you just, as soon as you're subbed, you can leave a question in the chat. Let me know how you're doing. That's how you show love. Ask me a question, join the conversation. Take a little brief look at Bitcoin, the rest of the market today. I'm actually pretty tired. I've been streaming all week, and I normally don't do that, right? Normally I do a couple, variety style quick market updates every Tuesday, Friday. But folks, we got less than a day. It's like 9 hours left. The Bitcoin Live 7th anniversary sale. So this is the last day. I'm going to actually take the next week off from streaming. Of course, I'll do Bitcoin Live twice a week. I'm a founding analyst, and I do a full market report, like no matter what happens. So I'm looking forward to tonight's report, actually, to kind of dive deeply into the market. This will be just fun today for a little bit while I'm hanging out with you folks. Check out BingX, my favorite exchange. A lot of great, if anybody watching on Twitter or YouTube for the first time, start with the Masterclass tutorial playlist. I teach Japanese candlestick theory and classical charting, and I try to take complex academic things and make them easier for you to digest. I publish 4 books. They're free versions here on my YouTube. So basically, there's just a lot of good stuff, a lot of cool stuff if you're into TA and you want to learn. So any questions, like I said, just jump into the chat. I see a bunch of people here. It's great to see you folks on a Sunday. Thanks for hanging out. So what do we think? So clearly, the price is testing a trough right now. And regardless of how you define this trough, let's zoom in a little bit to be more precise. And what is a trough? A trough is a low. The price is testing range lows. Here's the range. Here's the low part of the range. Range peak, range lows, called the peak, called the trough. And you have to certainly allow for some type of a wick, right? Wick potential, such that as with any construction based on a horizontal level, you want to allow for a potential recapture, especially intra-session. So you could already declare right now that, this level's lost. It's lost 100K. But I mean, has it really? We'll see. It's still kind of messing around here, and I don't want to drop much lower. I don't, just based on this daily candle structure thus far, I'm not going to see anything in the 4-hour or even the 1 hour. So, you kind of wait and see. But still, generally speaking, and you'll probably see this a little bit better on a weekly chart, you step out, it's still testing range lows, okay? Even though a little bit lower, still generally testing that price range. So we're seeing now follow through on the initial inside bar from a few weeks ago that told us, hey, the price is about to start consolidating. So it's actually pretty neat and orderly. It's nice that the price has given us these clues, and we essentially knew a few weeks ago we were going to consolidate. And the question is, how deep does it go? What levels do we test? And we've been marking out 100K, 96K zone, 88.5. So there's not honestly a ton that has changed on Bitcoin. Other charts have had major breakdowns, and maybe I can touch base on a couple, but essentially the price is still fighting and testing this range, arguably testing this range. 100K price zone, not price, but price zone is an important pivot. And then I'd say even on 4-hour, even though I said I wouldn't drop lower, you see a really good pocket of support. And there's price structure here. Should be some demand if the price gets there. So that's what Bitcoin's doing. The rest of the market is kind of is doing much worse, right? And that's also generally been the trend because trend is dominance is rising and all that good stuff, right? So let's take a look at Ethereum. I have been banging the warning signs for the last 3 or 4 weeks because of the tower top setup, and here we have a tower top, hours from completing, and I've been talking about a drop to the midpoint of this green candle. We're essentially there, and it lines up with that 2150, 2100 range. But just this type of price advance here, and then there's this is just a stalling, a pure, unbelievable stalling of momentum. There's a quad star, 5 small body. Okay, it was like after the advance is this is unusual, and so this needed to happen. It needs to happen. Bulls, you want to see it hold 2150. And a bunch of other alts have a lot of damage has been done in key levels have been tested. And of course, we're going to see what the market does, by tonight, right? Because like futures are going to open, equities will open up later. I know it's a volatile news environment. I don't speak in the news. I don't really know anything about it, and I certainly don't know anything more than you do. So I'm just going to kind of, stick with what the price is doing and see if it's holding the levels I think it should hold based on whatever my thesis is, and kind of constantly checking my thesis. Let's see. What's up, Nakamura Okami? Have you ever looked into market profile in VWAP? Absolutely. Yeah, volume weighted adjustment, adjustment. Oh, my brain's not working today. It's volume weighted adjusted price. It's essentially, there's so many, what I love is there's so many different methods. I've been having brain farts this week, and I think because I've been so active. I've streamed every day this week, and it's really unusual for me. It's summer. I'd rather be outdoors. And I will be starting next week. But, I'll still be running Twitter and Bitcoin Live, right? And we'll pepper in a little bit of YouTube. But these are special, and you're here for this week, and thank you. I don't use VWAP. I know a lot of people use one. And that gentleman, Brian, his last name eludes me now. He's the anchored VWAP. He wrote a book on it, Brian something or other. He's CMT. And there's so many different really good, solid methods. And philosophically, anything with volume that takes into account is probably a good method. So VWAP probably has some value to it, right? Like with candlesticks, if you're doing anything with Japanese candlesticks, it has to be what's the volume behind the candle. Anything that has volume in it is good in TA. It's clean. It's just based on what it's kind of a multiplier of the price, or it's an arbiter of some value of how much we should be weighting that price, or how the price got there, or the construction, of that session, right? That was a good question. What's up, Peter? Good to see you, man. Anonymous says, hey, what's up? I like to see the look of the 200 DMA. So we're talking about daily MA 200, which is equally weighted to 200 period average. And you like anything around there in 95, 96? Yeah, I think it's quite reasonable. Now, I don't know that the 200 itself is support or resistance, right? Per se, especially, price has been chopping through it, but you do have pretty well-defined structure, and I'd illustrated that on the 4-hour. Yanez, hey, what's up? Yanez, how you doing? What's up, Dasha? Almost 50K subs. Yeah, but honestly, for me to grind up to 50K, even from here, I'd probably have to put out like 4 or 5 videos a week, and at minimum. And I'm just not. I just too many other things I'm doing right now. Right. First of all, Bitcoin Live, and then Twitter in that order of like where if I have like work first, and then like YouTube for fun. But I'm recording the audiobook and trading journal. I'm reading books right now, studying for future books I want to write. I'm studying for CMT2. I'm reading that textbook. It's summer. And like YouTube is so brutal. Like if I don't post a video, I'll lose it just because there's bots and old accounts. Like you have to grind it out really hard. So it's funny. It looks like I'm almost at 50K, but I honestly think I probably won't hit 50K for a while. And I'm totally okay with that. The fact that you're here and listening to me now is wonderful. I have a nice interaction with you. I see you folks in the chat room. I do the spaces. I've had some wonderful spaces this week. And Soul Below 140, not so good. It's a pretty big breakdown for it. Seeing if XRP hashtag the standard can hold it too. Looks to not be doing that. Again, we'll see what the so I was going to say we'll see what happens when equities markets open in a few hours. So we may see wicks. We may see further continuation. So the weekly candles will be very interesting to look at tonight, as will many of these daily candles. But I'm just live streaming now for a quick update. This is my last, probably this week, because I did it every day this week for the Bitcoin Live sale, and so we got just less than 9 hours left. This is a great deal, by the way. 3 months, $97. And what I like about Bitcoin Live, not only it's a great team of colleagues, and I do it twice a week. I haven't skipped that in 6 years. Is you can go back and look at key moments in the market and see how I've covered it, how my colleagues have covered it. There's great techniques, there's skills that can be applied to future price. It's not going to always do the same thing, but in terms of your preparation, in terms of how you are analyzing and interpreting the information the price is giving you, right? We now have a few closes below daily MA50 and the daily. How do we put that into context? Based on our understanding of what the weekly chart is doing, right? What are the important markers to look at and what time frames, and not just, it's the same technique. You don't change a time frame for a different chart. You use the time frame you're using, and the technique is timeless. So we'll take a couple more questions. I'm honestly pretty tired. I need to go do some stuff and then wait for that the weekly candle close. Kova says, thank you. Thank you. I hope everybody's enjoying all the content I did this week. I really appreciate everyone who's shown up. Your participation warms me. It gives me energy. It's my fuel. So thank you deeply for that. And hopefully you've enjoyed, like I've been doing the trading quotes playlist. This is great. I read, my book 1 week at a time. And this is really great, like trading psychology, risk management stuff. I'm going to just do the whole book for free. So check that out. Bobby, thank you. You mentioned this wasn't the top. Yeah, I mean, there's no information. The top. I mean, we won't really know if it's the top till it's much lower and some type of support has been broken. You have a price in a strong weekly uptrend, hasn't even tagged MA20 yet. So it's just not information. It could be the top, but there's not the information you need to actually make that call. You could say that at any period of time. It's only just now begun a kind of a minor consolidation. So. I don't know, Chad, your question about, you'd have to email support. I don't do membership. I make videos and I don't handle the administrative stuff, Chad. So I don't know that, brother, but you'd have to reach out to them. Primal. Hey, what's up, Primal? Will the loss of the EMA 8 on the weekly be something to be concerned about? I mean, concerned. I don't like what concerned. Why the word? I mean, that's more of like a worry. It has to be more methodical. If almost like a Boolean loop. If this happens, okay, then it's going to do this next step, and I'm going to watch this next level. So worried, I don't like the concerned. I don't like that terminology. It's just still very clearly what I said before. It's an uptrend with well-marked levels to watch. We don't have enough information. And again, this weekly candle hasn't even closed. So there's a lot to wait and see. I'm looking forward to doing tonight's report. And then I'm probably not going to do YouTube next week. I might do on Friday, but definitely not Tuesday. But you can always try to, reach out to me on Twitter, or you can always, like on Bitcoin Live, you just leave me a message and I'll get back to you there. But if not, just try to reach me on Twitter and maybe I'll catch you there. But folks, thank you. I'm super tired, but I wanted to briefly touch base. I know I didn't get to all the questions. There's many more. But thank you for hanging out. We got just 8 hours for the Bitcoin Live sale. That's why I've been incredibly active this week. I've been streaming every day. I think I did 4 or 5 spaces. All these streams go into quick market updates. I've got 4 books. 3 are free versions of 3 of them on my YouTube. Great. If you want to learn TA, start with the tutorial playlist. Looking for somewhere to trade, check out BingX. I could riff for a lot longer on the chart, and there's a lot going on right now, and I haven't really talked about much, but I got to kind of save my mojo for tonight, for tonight's report, and I want to see more information. So, I look forward to hearing from you folks. Thank you for being here this week. Really appreciate you. I'm glad to be part of the space. Look for some great stuff coming out this week. I got a collaboration coming out next week. I think you guys will enjoy that, and thank you so much. All right. Let's continue on, and here comes Church of 8 Wheels. Thank you, folks.